Londres.
During wars, countries will typically blockade enemy belligerents. Britain blockaded France during the Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars. Bonaparte responded by blockading Great Britain with his continental system. Germany and the UK blockaded each other in the First and Second World Wars. And there was a lot of mutual damage. Supply lines were disrupted, countries were forced back on self-reliance, and living standards fell substantially. So a blockade is intended to inflict damage on an enemy power. Can we all agree that a blockade is not intended to stimulate the economy of the enemy country? It's not intended to nurture infant industries or to boost food or energy security or to make that country more competitive in world markets. That may strike you as an obvious banality. And yet, how many protectionists today are in practical terms arguing for self-blockades as economic policy? When they talk about nurturing infant industries, or when they talk about the importance of being self-reliant in this or that sector, they are effectively arguing that a country should voluntarily adopt a position that is typically imposed only on a belligerent during wartime as a form of immiseration. The reality is that it's the growth of markets, the end of self-reliance, the extension of supply lines, the drawing of more and more people into the economic nexus that has lifted living standards. A process that began in the 18th century in Britain, Holland, and in North America, that then spread to most of Europe in the 19th century, then spread to parts of East Asia in the mid-20th century, in Japan, in Taiwan, Singapore, Hong Kong. China then joined in after 1979, India from 1991, now Africa in the years of this millennium. Always the same story. Once countries begin to extend their commerce, to become less self-reliant, to specialize more and buy in what others do better, living standards rise for everybody, especially for the poorest people. The only exceptions, other than wartime, when GDP for everybody tends to fall, are the countries that either through a national policy, as in North Korea, or through a foreign blockade, as in Cuba, have chosen or have been forced to cut themselves off from the world economy. We can see the evidence there staring us in the face. So please, all of you who think that it's a good thing to be more self-sufficient, to buy more locally, to raise up our local industries and so on, remember that you are doing to yourself what is normally only inflicted as a last measure in war.